I'm going to try something new on this channel. I love cooking, I love baking, especially in the winter when I'm not so busy with the farm. But one thing I've never mastered is cookies. I can never get them to come out light and fluffy. They either spread out or they're too hard. So instead, we're going to do a series on figuring out the chemistry behind cookies. The first recipe I'm going to do is the traditional Toll House cookie recipe. So I'm going to follow this to a T, exactly what it says, see how my cookies come out, and then go from there. The next episode will be trying to fix the mistakes I made. So I already have my oven preheated, so we can start working right on the cookies. All right. The first thing it says is 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. One thing I do know from my baking is you never want to scoop the flour. You always want to weigh the flour. So I have my scale. I know that 1 cup of flour is equal to 120 grams of flour. So I am going to do, so it's 2.25. Pause for some math. Okay, after some math, not my strong point, I realized it's 270 grams of flour for 2.25 cup of flour. So I'm gonna weigh out 270 grams of flour. That was loud. All right. Turn it. Okay. Oh, way too much. Okay. 270 grams of flour. I have my 270 grams of flour. Next, we're going to do a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of salt. So I have my baking soda. I'm going to scoop it out, level it off. And then I shouldn't be doing this on my scale. I should know better. Now I'm also going to be doing a teaspoon of salt. Put it in. Close up the baking soda. I'm putting that aside. Now I take out my stand mixer. In a large bowl, beat the butter, which is 2 sticks of butter, softened to room temperature. I took these out hours ago, so hopefully that is enough. Granulated sugar and brown sugar. Each of those is 3/4 cup. I forgot my granulated sugar. 3/4 cup. 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. And this says packed brown sugar. So I'm going to use a tablespoon to get it in there so I can pack it down as I go. And I really want you guys, if you see something that you think would improve my cookie baking while I'm doing it, please comment, because this is all about trusting the process and learning the process. 3/4 packed brown sugar in here. All right, let's cream the sugar. It also says that while you're creaming the butter and sugar together, to add your vanilla extract. So I'm going to do that now. I did make my own last year, but I'm running out, so it's time to make more again. 1 teaspoon. Now the recipe says to add 1 egg at a time while it's creaming. Make sure that I have to wait for that to whisk in, it says. Okay, much better. All right. Now, once that's mixed in, it says to add the flour gradually. forgot the little at a time bit. But hold on, let's let that go first. Okay. I know it's a fine line between adding this slowly and over mixing. That's what I'm trying to perfect here. Because it's not like bread. You don't want to develop the gluten of the flour. I'm going to turn that off while I get my spatula to scrape the sides. I don't want any unincorporated flour. So scrape down the sides. I want to get one of these paddle mixers with the scraper attachment. One more thing I don't have to do mid-baking. One day. Now that everything's incorporated, I want to add the chocolate chips by hand because I don't want to keep mixing this dough. So I'm going to get it off of the KitchenAid and pull this down. Get out all the dough. Well, batter, cookie dough. No, dough. 2 cups of chocolate chips. 1, 2. Okay. And I am going to bring you over so you can see me mixing. Except I'm realizing now I should have done you on my left because I am right-handed and I don't want my arm blocking the view. This seems like a lot of chocolate chips, but you know, we're trusting the process. I'm trying to follow the recipe exactly, so I'm not going to use a silicone tray mat on this. It says ungreased pan, so I have an ungreased pan. It also doesn't say to refrigerate the dough first, which a lot of recipes I've read do, but let's follow it. Let's trust the process. It says 1 heaping tablespoon at a time. So, heaping tablespoon, cookie. I'm not 100% in love with the way they turned out, but let's let them cool down first. I know they're going to continue to cook, so it's okay that they're very, very soft, at least from what I've been researching. But I'm going to still give these a minute before I take them off the tray because they're very hard to pull off. I'm going to try and take them off now, but they look very flat. Yep. I also had the convection oven on, so it should have given it a lot of whatever. The rest I'm going to wait a little bit longer on the tray because they're just ripping apart. Good though. Let's try it again now that they've cooled down a little bit. Oh, they're coming off easier at least. That's the outside dog. Okay, so I'm going to consider this a fail because they're all ripped up. They flattened out too much. So I'm going to research what I can do to make these better. But in the meantime, please give me your tips. See what we can do to make the cookies better. I do want to perfect cookies this year. That is my goal.